All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Yelena. I'm Cognos Analytics System Administrator. Tonight is our second session. Here is the agenda. We're going to talk about the dashboards, adding visualizations, and etc. to the dashboard. We're going to talk about creating stories, and we're going to talk about how you're going to use Cognos Analytics for the group work, okay? And of course, your questions and answers. All right, so where did we stop last time? We used claims and weather data, right? That tracks information about the customers, their demographics, such as their country and the state where they live, right? The state code, if they're employed or not, right? And also it tracks the type of vehicle that the customer drives, and it tracks the information on insurance, such as what the monthly premium is, etc. And we use this information to predict total claim amount, right? And also you have information on a claim type, right? So you use that customer information and the coverage information and claim type information to predict to estimate the total claim amount. That's the data that we used, and this is a partial screenshot, right? But because our data has some missing values, it required some pre-processing, right? So what we did was we created an embedded filter to remove the rows that don't have the effective due date, right? Because we noticed that if the rows missing effective due date, they were missing a lot of other information about the coverage. So we just decided to remove that. Then we created a selectable filter that we call personal policy type for small vehicle, because in my analysis, sometimes I'm interested to look at the small vehicle that have a personal policy type, right? So that way I don't need to recreate the filter every time I want to look at this data subset. I can just use it, the drag and drop visualization, right? Then, well, we did remove some rows with effective due date missing, but the problem is some rows are still missing the income. So what we did was, if the income was missing, we replaced it with an average value. The only little change that I threw in here is that we're gonna round the average income, all right? Then also monthly premium values were missing. We did that. Then claim reason, right? Some claim reason values were missing. So if the claim reason is missing, I'm decided to treat it as other. And I created a video where I show the details on how you do that, right? So this is handling missing values, right? That's just the summary. Then we talked about the grouping, right? Like, for example, if you notice that the number of policies column is skewed. So what I want to do is I want to treat 8 on the box as a separate category. The next category is between 6 to 8, 5 to 6, and etc. Right? So we introduce data grouping here for numeric values, and we also introduce the data grouping for categorical, right? So that's what we did last time. Now, as you may recall, we did some visualizations, right? So here it is. If I go to my content, if you see this, it is the data exploration. So what's the data exploration? It allows us to get quick information about our data. For example, the driver, see that, right? No, that's just for you to glean inside, but it's not something that you're going to present to your manager. Why? Because notice that there is no way to customize. You cannot add text in here, right? Then you cannot you cannot format, you cannot change colors, you cannot add background color, etc. Then there is no way when, for example, I want to be able to select one data point, right, in one of my visualizations, and I want the rest of the visualization to be filtered accordingly, right? Like, for example, if I select Missouri state, I want all the visualizations to be filtered by Missouri. There is no way to do it here. This visualization cards, there is no connections between them, right? There is no way to do that. Select one data point and make it selected else everywhere else. So what this is leading to is something new that we're going to do today, which is called dashboards. Why do we create dashboards? We create them to present insight about the data. That's not just getting insight. This is just to present. And you do the combination of visualizations and you make an attractive layout. So, and each visualization has an appearance property that you may change, and the available properties depend on the visualization that you're looking at, right? Then the visualizations on the same tab, right? They are linked if they use the same data source. So visualizations on the same dashboard tab, and I'll show you what a tab is. If they use the same data source, those visualizations are linked. For example, I can select the state in one visualization, and all visualizations will be filtered for that specific state, right? Then you may add text and widgets, right? Then it's possible, and I'll show you how to use visualizations from explorations and from other dashboards. A visualization dashboards have two modes, right? Edit mode and a view mode. Edit mode basically is when it's editable. And view mode, if it's just preview, you cannot edit it in the view mode, right? Well, and then there is something similar to exploration where you may create a navigation path, you may create calculations at the dashboard level. But please keep in mind that any calculations that you get at dashboard level, you cannot reuse them in another dashboard or another exploration. If you want the calculations to be available for all dashboards where you use that data, you need to create it where? In a data module, right? So now, how do we create a new dashboard? First of all, you need to, well, let's close this exploration. You need to find your data that you want to use. So in this case, it's my content, and I want to use the claims and weather data module, right? So what I did, I click on this ellipsis, and this opens, this is called what? Context menu, remember? So I'm gonna select create dashboard. So automatically, claims and weather data module will be used as a data source for the dashboard that I'm going to create right now. Create dashboard. Now what I see, there are two types of dashboards, tabbed and infographic. Tab, as the name suggests, it's split into several tabs. You can have one or more tabs, right? Infographic is a long page without tabs. So with tabs, the advantages, you might group the visualizations, as I said, based on specific subtopic. You might apply the filters to the specific tab or to visualizations on all tabs, where infographic is a long page. Another plus side why we're going to be using tabs here, because you may save, you may export the tab dashboard as a story. In fact, this is what you're going to do for your assignment 4. You're going to create a tab dashboard, and when it's ready, you're going to export it as a story, right? So what I did for you, I did a nice summary in here, the differences, but both are interactive, and both have predefined layout templates, and both you may change how they appear, right? Both have view mode and edit mode, and you may also preview the data that is being visualized, right? So now, what are the templates? We'll talk about that. So there are out of the box templates, right? Right here. And there is also a free template. So free template is customizable. There is no predefined design. And remember that the objects do not resize, and you may need to scroll. But on the other hand, if you use a predefined template, the objects will resize based on the size of your screen. And the template consists of panels. What's a panel? It's a placeholder for something, for the visualization or for the widget. It's using what relative positioning, where freeform is using absolute positioning. There are no sections, right? For this demo, I'm going to be using 2x2. Well, one thing to keep in mind is that the more visualizations you have, the longer it could take to load, right? So I like 2x2. I'm going to click OK. At the moment, what do I see in here? I see only one tab, right? And I see 2x2 here, right? What do I see in here? There are currently no navigation paths. I know last time we created navigation paths, but we did not create it in in a data module. We created it in data exploration, right? So it's not available here. What is this? This is a calculation, right? It's a standalone calculation that stores average total claim amount. Remember, standalone calculation, it's not stored with every row, it's stored once, all right? And this is our what claims and weather data module that is used as a data source for this dashboard. If you notice here, you still have column names, right? And you see this little icon next to column name. It indicates the column data type. This is a data group. Remember the group columns that we created? This is what is this? This is a filter, right? Remember, why did I have to use descriptive name? Because if I look at the properties, there is no way to say what this filter does unless I go back to my data module. See? So that's why I have to use the descriptive name. Personal policy for small vehicle. It's available in here. Now, see this similar? You can view the column properties if you like, right? See this properties and etc. And you can still change the sort option if you like, and the aggregation. The aggregation tells you how the data is being summarized, all right? Like, for example, if I'm looking at the income, I want to look at the average income. I don't want to look at the sum, right? You can change the aggregation here as well if you want to, but the thing is, if you change it here, it will be available only in this dashboard, right? So what I did was I changed it in a data module instead, because I want it to be available across the board where I use it, right? So a little bit of housekeeping. This is a filters area. It can be expanded and collapsed. I can expand and collapse, which is good for my screenshots, right? Because you're asked to take some screenshots for your submission. And it's easier to take a screenshot when you collapse the windows that you don't need to be visible, right? It's easier to do that. Now, remember this, if you have an asterisk next to the name, it means that the latest change was not saved. So what we do now, we need to save our dashboard, right? And how do you do it? You see this little arrow next to the floppy disk? I'm gonna go save us. And remember, I have to save it where? My content, right? And I'm gonna call it, let's call it total claim dashboard, right? I'm calling total claim dashboard. I'm gonna click save. Now, remember I told you that dashboards, you can change properties, right? Like for example, see this here, this is the properties window. And the properties that are available for me depends on what I have selected. At the moment, I'm just having this page selected, right? So I can specify if I want to see my grid or not, or I can specify how I want to see my tabs. In this case, let's say I want to change the title color to be red, and I want to show the selection indicator green. So the tab that is being selected will show green, right? And the tab title will show in red. And I can add another tab. When I add another tab, I have a choice. I can select current layout and I can stay with the same layout. I'll just go to by two. And at any time, if you don't like the layout that you have selected, you may change. How do you do that? You click on the tab. See that? So this is option to edit the title. This option is to duplicate, right? And this option here is to change template. If I click here, I can always change my template to what I want. All right. So I've got two tabs right now. I showed you how to do some properties, and I'm gonna let you play around with this, right? Colors, etc. So now, what I'll show you next is what you can do with this, right? How do you add the visualizations? Well, one way to do is this. See this? I have these visualizations here, right? I can just select my visualization and I can drag and drop the visualization in here. Now, here, in visualization properties, similar to what you saw in data exploration, I'm looking at the pie chart right now. If you see the asterisk here, it means data slot is required. You must specify something here to see visualization. Like in my case, just suppose that what I'll do is I'm going to select the state for the segment. Each segment of the pie chart is going to show the state, and size, I want it to be the number of customers. How do I do it? I'm going to drag and drop the customer, because what it will do is, remember how customer data is being summarized, right? In this case, it's going to do count. I want to see the proportion of customers in each state, right? Remember, the pie chart is useful to see the actual proportion of the whole, right? So what we'll need to do is we'll need to change some properties in here. So what I'll go see is the properties that are available now are based on what I have selected. In my case, what I have selected is pie chart, right? Let's minimize that. Okay, so what I can do is I can change the properties of the chart, and I can display the percentages, right? Because the purpose of this visualization is not to tell how many customers we want to see, right? Then there are other things such as appearance. This is going to look like a donut, right? So I'll make the change here. Then you can specify if you want to show the labels or not. You can change the color scheme and etc. I've got my pie chart here with state, right? That's one way to add visualization. Let's save that. Another way to add visualizations is something called pins. What is pin? In other words, it's like a bookmark, right? Visualizations that was bookmarked. So we're going to go back to the welcome page and we're going to open the data exploration. So that was the exploration we worked on last time, right? Now what you can do is, suppose that you have a visualization that you want to reuse, right? You want to reuse it in your other dashboards and etc., right? See, like for example, I'm trying to find the good one. You have here customers by state, customers across the state, right? What you could do is this. You can add these visualizations to what? See this pin, you can add it to the favorites. See, I added this, it says processing pin. So pins are something like favorites. And I created a video for you to show you how to use the pins. You can search them and etc., right? I'm showing you how you can do that. So here is my visualization, right? I put it in the favorite. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna go back, this is my dashboard. What I can do you see this here? I've got the pins, and I can just drag and drop the visualization here. See this? I drag and drop the visualization. See this? Customers across the state. Nice, right? I did that. Then see that? I've got two visualizations here. What else can I do? I can use what? Do you remember this little friend over here? This is an assistant, right? So I can type data. It's going to give me what? My data sets. This is my claims and weather data module. And what I could do is I could say perhaps total claim amount, right? I select the total claim amount to see the details. And then you can take a look at what influences total claim amount. And then when I click here, perhaps I want to see total claim amount, and I believe it was the vehicle size, something like that, right? So here are my visualizations for total claim amount and vehicle size. And if I want to use one of these, what I could do is I can just drag and drop, right? This is average claim amount for vehicle size. I drag and drop my visualization here. That's it, right? Easy, very easy. I just drag and drop and done, right? So basically you can use pins, you can create new visualization from scratch. You can use this little guy assistant here to just drag and drop, right? What else you can do here? You can use widgets. Here are my widgets, and I can use the text. Like for example, here, and I'm gonna put the text something like I love data 610, right? I put I love data 610. See this, so that's the text. And text is also customizable. I'll click here and I can change my properties, right? I select, I click here. Jesus, you can use this toolbar to change your properties. Like for example, I want to make it bold. Then here I want to align it to the left, and etc. Right? Then I can change my text color. Right? I can do it here. Ultimately, I can open the this window and do it here. See this? So there are multiple ways to do that. I can do it here if I want to. Right? Then I can resize this box, right? I resized it. Or actually take a look at this. If you drag and drop on top of this blue arrow, right? It's gonna take it's gonna take this whole slot, right? The size is just gonna adjust, right? Right, adjust to the panel size. See that? You can do that. Next thing, what you can do is you can add shapes. I'm going to another tab and I can drag and drop shapes and I can change properties of the shape. Adding an image, I need to bring your attention, you cannot actually copy and paste the image. What you have to do is you need to specify the image URL, okay? You need to specify the image, the web URL of an image. And I'm gonna show you an example shortly. So I'm gonna delete it for right now. Okay. So you cannot copy and paste the image. Remember that you have to specify the web URL of an image. All right. So now I make change. See this? It's not saved. I'm gonna click save. Right. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna add this visualization again. I'm gonna go to pins and I'm gonna add this visualization again. See this? It's nice. I can keep on adding it again, right? Then, see this is a cross tab. I can add that too if I didn't delete the data source. No, I did not. So see this is the average claim amount for vehicle type, right? Then I want to select something with a state again. I don't have it here. Well, I can go back to here and I can add another visualization. So this is a total claim amount. Oh, this is a vehicle size. Let's add this here again. Okay, I added it here again. So see this, this is a vehicle size. This is a total claim amount per policy type, claim amount per state, and etc. Right? And on this tab, I also have the state. Is a state, and I've got the state in here too. So now what I'll do is I'm going to show you how the filters work. There are two types of filters. Remember, you can apply the filter to a single tab or you can apply the filter to all tabs. Right? So what I'll do, this is the filters area. I'm going to go to my data. Here's my data. I want to add a filter. All tabs. How do I do it? I'm going to find what I want to filter on. I want to filter it on a state. I drag and drop in here. And I'm going to select Iowa and Kansas. I selected the states. Take a look at what happened. All my visualizations on the first tab are adjusted to Iowa and Kansas, right? Now what happens when I go to the second tab, all my visualizations are also adjusted to Iowa and Kansas. See that? It applied to both tabs, right? And I can see my filter here. I can see that. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete this filter, right? I go back to the first tab. And what I will do instead is I put the filter here. So this will filter current tab, and I'm just gonna select Oklahoma and Nebraska. See that? Right? I got it filtered here, but why it did not apply here? Because I applied the filter only to the first tab. There's no filter in this tab, right? So just know that. You can apply the filter to all tabs, or you can apply the filter to a single tab, all right? Or you can apply a filter to specific visualization, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back in here to this tab. I'm gonna delete this filter, right? So see this? This is a visualization, and you look at the properties. So you have to click on this arrow, right? And I can reuse my filter. See this? This is a filter, selectable filter, personal policy for small claim vehicle. I can just add it here. So that will apply that filter to this visualization. See, this is how you use the selectable filter. I can just apply it to individual visualization here. I don't need to define my filter again. I can just drag and drop. Isn't it nice? Right? See this? So the visualization got filtered for that personal policy type for small vehicle. However, I only filtered this visualization. I did not filter other visualizations because the filters that I just showed you is applicable only to one specific visualization, right? I did not apply it to tab. I only applied it to specific visualization, okay? Now, so let's see, that's this topic about the dashboard interface I showed you, where the filters are. I showed you where assistant is in visualizations, right? I showed you where to see the data source, right? This is just about the dashboard properties that I showed you. You can change the tab appearances. This is just multiple ways to add visualizations. You can use pins, you can use assistant, you can use visualization library. But take a look at this. Since your assignment 4 is a continuation of 3, you will be reusing visualizations from 3. You will probably be adding them as pins and then drag and drop the pin. That's one way to do it, okay? Just know that. And that's a visualization library. You can just drag and drop visualizations the way I did with a pie chart for you, right? And this is just showing you, this is a general visualization interface. This is called the focus mode. When you see this little arrow at the right corner, you can open and collapse visualization. When the visualization is opened like this is called the focus mode, and you've got the data slots. If the data slot has an asterisk next to it, you must specify the column to see the visualization, right? You just drag and drop the fields to the data slots to produce visualizations, all right? As this is just for the pie chart, I demonstrated how to do the properties. Only thing that I didn't show is that you can put this type. Is this like claims percentage by state? So I selected this, then I'm gonna select what? The properties, right? I select the properties here. Then I can go to the, I believe it's under visualizations. This is just the legend, this is a chart. And there is a property that allows you to display the title, right? It might be in general. Okay, let me take a look. Okay, so here it is, visualization properties, and it's in general. You want to check select show title, general, and then it's an appearance, and here it is show title. There we go. And I'm gonna enter my title. It's gonna be something like a customer percentage by state, right? So, okay, so that's it, and I can customize my title. You saw that little text bar here, or I can also do that here, right? You can change the font size, you can change the text color if you like, and etc. You can make it bold, you can change the alignment, perhaps I want it centered, right? I'll let you play around with that. All right, now again, I made changes. I need to save it. All right, so that's that. Now then you can add the text widget. I showed you that, right? And you may change the text properties such as font size and appearance. I showed you that. You can add an image, but see that you cannot just copy and paste. You need to specify the image URL. So how do you find the image URL? Let's see. Let's go to the Google, perhaps. Google, right? I go to the Google and I want to search for I want to search for an image of a dog, right? I select dog, and I want to do the images. For each image, there is a URL. So let's see, let's try this. Let's copy image link. Let's see if this does that. The image URL should end with JPG or PNG. No, that's not it, right? Oh, yeah, that's it. See this? I'm just going to do copy image link. And then I'm going to go back to my Cognos. And suppose I want to add it. Let's add another tab. Okay. Now what I want to do, I want to go to the widgets, right? I'm going to go to the image. I'm going to drag and drop. And then what? I have to paste that image URL. See that? I've got my dog. You paste that image URL. It's supposed to end with a PPG or PNG, something like that. See? I pasted the URL in here, and this is how you show an image. You cannot copy and paste the picture. You have to put the picture URL. Got it? Okay. That's the next one here. Well, for this one, I'm gonna have another. I have a separate demo that I prepared for the next topic. But also another thing is this. I forgot to show you. You can undo and redo the latest change. Undo, right, and then redo, right? Well, usually you can redo. Okay. Control A. Well, anyway, you can undo, redo the latest change in here. So see that I deleted this, right? I can undo this, I can redo this, etc. See, this is undo, redo in here, right? And then see this, if I click here, see this, now the pencil is highlighted. It means that my dashboard is in the view mode. If I want to make changes to it, I cannot. I cannot make any changes to it. Why? Because my dashboard is now in a view mode. I want to add visualizations, I cannot. See? Sometimes you might be wondering why I cannot add visualization. The reason is your dashboard is not in the edit mode. You need to click on this pencil to put it in the edit mode. You can switch between edit and a view. Now let's close this. For next topic, I have a different one. So let's go back to my content, and I called it connections demo. So as I mentioned it, all visualizations that use the same the same data source are linked. What do I mean by that? So well, if I select Missouri here, Missouri will be selected in all visualizations in this tab. See this? Missouri, right? I change Oklahoma, and then all of my visualizations will show Oklahoma, right? Also note that right now, this dashboard is in a view mode, right? I have to put it in edit mode to be able to make changes to it, right? So here, this is something called the view widget connections. And if you see this, all these connections belong to one group, right? One group, they're connected. And if I have to, I can break this connection. How? I select this visualization here, and I do break link, right? I can break link. So now, no matter what state I select here, right? No matter what state I select here, this visualization will remain untouched because I broke my link. What else I could do here is, for example, I selected this visualization. Instead of breaking links entirely, I can move this visualization to another group. Is this? I click here and I want these visualizations to be linked with this. So why would you do that sometimes? For example, sometimes I want to compare if the total claim amount by vehicle class depends also on a state. So for example, here I can select Iowa. This is visualization for Iowa, and this is a visualization for Oklahoma. So does state make a difference on my visualization? For vehicle class, right, total claim amount, and this one is vehicle class total claim amount. But I want to look at different states. And as you can see, luxury SUV claim amount, the state makes a difference. See that? The state makes a difference for luxury SUV cars. Other sparse, non-significant difference. Or I can select Nevada here, see that? Or I can select Missouri, see that I'm selecting different states, see? And I can see, I can check if state makes a difference. I can do this comparison by the state. This is total claim amount, vehicle by vehicle class, comparison by the state. So that's a reason. Then suppose that I want to link my visualization deck. I'll select this and I'm gonna go back to widget connection, right? I select this and I'm gonna do put it to group, edit to group one. And then here I also want to edit to group one. See, so this was a demo. This was a demo for connection topic. The visualizations that use the same data source are linked. You can break these links. And a good example why was sometimes you want to compare the data by state. So at the top, you can show the data for one state, and at the bottom, you can show the data for the other state. Is that one? This is one reason why you would do that. All right, so just know this. You can break links if you need to. All right. So, but here it's the same concept, but I just use different visualization. All right. Now, what we looked at, we were looking. What I did for you, first of all, what I did for you, I prepared another dashboard that we're gonna use for the next topic. So let's gonna go to my content. There is another dashboard that I prepared. Let me see, it's not this. It might be this. Let's see, car insurance dashboard. It's this one. Okay, so this is a dashboard that I prepared for you just for the next part of the demo. Do you see this? Well, first of all, this is a title, right? I put this, what is this? It's nothing but the text. So let's do this. Let's put it in a edit mode. You see this car insurance data. This is a text. And if I look at the properties, I specify the text appearance, right? See, this is the fill color. I did not want any border, but I could if I wanted to, and etc. Right? And this is a text. I specify the text properties, such as text font, text size, and more. See this? I can specify the style if I want to. This is the image. And here, this is the image link. See this? It enters PNG. Again, this picture is not from my hard drive. This picture is not from VDI hard drive. This is the image of the picture. It is a link, right? An image. And if I want to, I can put a description if I like, right? Next thing, this is the second tab, and I numbered the tab for a reason, and you will see why later. So see this one, I'm just showing the average total claim amount, but I want to look at the coverage type. This is the claim type, and notice that what is other. This is what I did here. If the claim type is not specified, I want to treat it as other, right? Because I want to look at the claim type that is not the scratch, it is not hail, it is not a collision. I want to look at the two. So what I did was, remember, we replaced the missing values, predefined value called other, right? So we've got that. So this is just the education level and not the car type. Total claim amount. So, well, this is just the average claim amount, right? And here, this is a claims distribution. Now, basically, I'm showing percentage of claims by the state, percentage of the claims by vehicle class, percentage by policy type, and percentage by education level. This is assignment 3. Let's assume that I did assignment 3, where I did the decision tree model for total claim amount. I did my driver analysis. I did this bullseye diagram, right? And I did the sunburst diagram. So this was my assignment 3. And this is the average claim amount by location. So I've got this. I've got 5 tabs. Remember, 5 tabs. We all count until 5, okay? Now what I'll do, I'm gonna close this properties for a while. What I cannot do in here, I cannot specify the transition, right? Like for example, I'm on the first tab right now. I cannot specify for how long I'm looking at it. When should I change to tab 2? I have to do it manually, right? I have to actually click on tab 2. I cannot specify the timing. Perhaps I want to see the title first, and then I don't want to see the image for another 5 seconds, perhaps. I cannot do it in here. I cannot add animations. I cannot specify the transitions between tabs, right? So what does this lead us to? It leads us to another topic. And what's another topic? It's called the stories. What is a story? Story is an over time narrative. It can be, there are different types of stories. You can select the slideshow. So this is similar to the PowerPoint animated presentation with visualization. It's an overtime narrative, right? So you present inside without exporting the visualization from an application. Then you may specify the timing when things are visible, when things are not. You may also add different images, shapes, right? And you might also, well, you might create the new story just by selecting new from new menu and select creating a story. Or what I'll show you is little cheat. What you're gonna do for your assignment 4 is only when your dashboard is ready, take a look. If I click on this arrow next to the floppy disk, I see this option that's called Save as a Story. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'll save it as a story. For right now, I'm gonna select the slideshow. So I'm gonna click on Select. I'm gonna save it in my content, and by default, it's gonna take the name of this dashboard and it's gonna prefix it with the word story. And I want to open after I save it. I'm gonna go click on Save. Oh, okay. It tells me that I already have the same file with the same name. So, well, I just overwrote it. So see this, so this is my story right now, right? Take a look at this. This is called the scene. Instead of the tab, I have a scene. Note that each tab in the dashboard will become a scene in here. So I have 5 scenes right now. I'm not limited to 5. If I want to, I can add a new scene, right? And I can select the template for the scene and I can add visualizations manually. But for assignment 4, this is how you would do it, okay? But before you do that, please make sure that your tab dashboard is done, because any change that you make to your tab dashboard after you export it as a story, that's it. It will not be available in the story, okay? So make sure that you're totally done with the dashboard before you do that, right? Then you can also see this. I can also select this and I can also see properties. This is similar to what you saw when you did when we did the dashboard. You can specify how things appear, right? You can see the actual data that is being visualized. You see that this is a calculation. Those are the fields, the group fields. See this is a filter that you created, selectable filter. And again, see the icon indicates column data type. You might add calculations, but if you add a calculation here, it will be available only for this story. It will not be available anywhere else where you use the same data source, right? So if you want the calculation to be available everywhere where you use the same data source, you have to create it where? In the data module. You have to create it in the data module, okay? And again, you have pins where you can reuse your visualizations. You can do use assistant. You can add new visualizations from here. Now remember, so here you can add a filter, and the filter can apply to all scenes, and the filter can apply to the specific scene that you have selected. But let's look more into a scene. I mentioned to you that you can specify there is a timeline, and you use the timeline to specify when things appear. So I'm going to click here to open up the timeline. Do you see that there are 4 objects in here? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's minimize this. See this? I've got 4 objects in here. And I want to specify when my objects appear. How do I do that? I just drag and drop this. See this? So this will appear after 2 seconds. This one, I want this to disappear after 3 seconds. There we go. It will show and it will disappear after 3 seconds. By default, it's 5 seconds, right? By default, each scene is for 5 seconds. But what I could do, I can just go drag and drop, and it will expand the time. See this? I can drag and drop to make it longer than 5 seconds. See that? I can adjust. 5 seconds is the default, but I can change the default. So now I want to preview my scene. So what I'm gonna see is, so see this, I'm gonna preview. Look, not visible, 2 seconds visible, this disappears, and this two are still visible. See this? Again, previewing. See, this is not visible, becomes visible, this disappears, and this two disappears, and this two stay. See that? I just previewed how it actually looks like. Now, this one is to close the timeline, right? So here it is a timeline. You will specify when things appear, disappear. And right now it's on 6 seconds. I have to go back to the 1 second to see this. I don't see this visualization because I want it to be visible after 2 seconds. All right, so that's the reason why. And I can do the same on the other tabs if I want to. I can change my timeline, right? But for right now, see this? Again, I'm here in the edit mode. I can change to view mode. And then, oh, I have to change this. I want to play all scenes. And you can just go and play all new scenes. See this? I did not change the duration. So first one is 5 seconds. Now we go to the next one. See, do you see what's happening? It's because I changed this scene. I did not do anything here. And I did not do anything on the last one. Right? On the last two, I did not change anything. So this is playing the scene 5 right now. I'm gonna save that. I did not save the changes. Okay. Now what I could do, well, there are also properties that apply, go to the edit mode, there are properties that apply to the whole overall. See this, I can change my scene transition. For example, I'm gonna do sweep, and let's hope it does it. Sweep, now I'm gonna go back to the preview mode, right? I'm in the preview mode, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna preview this again. All right, I'm gonna preview. I have to go back to the first scene, right? And I'm gonna preview it again. See this? So I'm gonna do it's playing it. It's playing it. Okay. See the transition? Do you see the transition? I specify the transition type, right? So when I play it, well, it's gonna go to the next scene. But do you see how it's going? You see the transition type, right? And you can specify how you want to transition. See, so that's transition type. All right, that's a transition type properties. And you can also do the sweep. Like, see this? Oh, that was the sweep. You can also do the animated pass if you want. Story type, I pick the slideshow, but I want to do I can do the guided journey. And for the guided journey, I can pick my layout. I like this layout. So this is the layout, but take a look at this. Here, this is showing the first slide here. It's showing all of them. Is this showing all of the scenes? What you want to do for your assignment? I like this layout because it's easier. It's easier to take a screenshot. So see, I've got 5 scenes, and as a deliverable, right, I need to show the instructors that I did the story. I would want to take a screenshot of this. You take a screenshot of this for your assignment submission. It will show you that it will show the professor that you in fact created a story. take the screenshot of this. Okay, so you know how I got here, right? Well, it's in here. See this? I want to show all these things, right? On the first one here. See, this is just the first thing, right? The next thing. But see, the difference is here that is using the same canvas. See, so what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go to the view mode only, and I'll go back to the first. I need to go back to the first thing to do the preview. Oops, I want to go back to the first one. So, oops. Okay, let's go back to the edit mode. If it does not work this way, we have to find another way. So this is the first one. Now I'm gonna do this preview. I'm gonna preview and I'm gonna play it. See what's gonna happen. See this? This is finished. This is the first one. Now it's gonna go to the next one. See, now it's gonna go. See, but I still see this. Do you see this? Things disappear, appear, right? Because I specified the timeline before, right? See this, so that's the next one. And the last one. I specify the timeline when users can see it. See, it's an animation. It did it for me. All right, I'm gonna go back here and I go back to the properties. And what I want to do is I can, well, this is, I want to select, I want to see all things when I start, right? Because that's a way to take a screenshot. And that's a layout. You can change the layout. See story type, guided journey, and you select change the layout. And when there are some other properties that you can look into, right? I'm leaving it up to you to play around. You can change the colors and etc. Right? There are some changes you can make, right? Adjusting the width and so on, right? So you got that. And of course, you can add a new thing and you can add new visualizations, right? So that's how you do it, just by taking and exporting the dashboard. I'm gonna close this right now. I'm gonna go back to the welcome page. This is another way to create the new story. I click on new, I click on story, but this is a long way, okay? Well, I can select the slideshow, does not matter. I click create. Well, take a look at this. Now I'm having a problem. What is the problem? I didn't specify the data source, right? Because when you create it from, when you create the story from the dashboard, the data source is specified already. It will take the data source that was used in the dashboard. If you do it from scratch, now you have to figure out how to specify the data source, right? I'm adding this data source. Now what I need to do, I have to figure out what I want to do here. I need to specify the layout, right? Like, for example, I can do the layout here. That will be the title. Here, I can drag and drop visualization. So I can go to my pins perhaps, and I can just do this. Oh, see, because it's associated with another data set that's not available. So see this, that's now a problem. That's now a problem because I'm using the old pin. I need to make sure that I'm using the pin that is associated with data set that is currently available. Let's delete this. Oh, anyway, what I could do is I could create my visualizations from scratch, right? But see what happens if you delete the data set that was used to create this pin, the pin will be invalid. But I don't know why, because this one I just created, I just created today, so I don't know why it's complaining. But anyway, what you could do also, you can create a new visualization. You see that? I can just drag and drop the same pie chart, and I can just create that. See, I just drag and drop, and you specify the fields that you want to use. Same concept, right? Same concept that we used earlier when we created the dashboard. But this is a long way and a hard way. I would rather create the dashboard first and then export it, and then export it to the story. So that way you have a starting point that you can add to, right? You're not totally from scratch. Okay. Now let's close this. I'm not gonna save it, right? Close without saving. Let's take a look at these topics here. We covered that. Okay, I talked about the transitions, right? You may customize the transition. You may create it from the dashboard or from the scratch, right? That's different. Jesus, each thing on a different canvas, which is where each thing on the same canvas. I like the guided journey better. Well, at least to submit, you can take a screenshot, right? Well, this is just the interface. It spells out the interface for you. You also have the undo, redo. Then remember that visualizations are also linked, right? Same concepts apply here. All right. You can specify the timeline. I showed you how to do that. So the timeline tells when objects appear and disappear, and I'll give you the slides after this. This just shows you how to export the dashboard as a story, okay? Now, and see that this is just, it just shows you the screenshot. It just shows you here that each dashboard tab is gonna become the scene in the story, okay? Well, there are some sample dashboards that you can look at. So if you go to the team content, do you remember there is some stuff that was pre-installed in here? The dashboard, this is not something that you're going to turn in for grade, but if you want to look at what is available, what you can do, right? So it's there for you. And your permission is set to run. A run permission allows you to actually, well, it's a little bit more than a read. You can view the file content and you can also do interact. You can run this dashboard interactively. You won't be able to make changes, but you will be able to just explore for yourself and see what's in there. See, like creating, I'm selecting one point here and it's going to filter. See this, I can just interact. I can look at it and etc. See, I cannot make any changes. Well, it did say that I changed, but I won't be able to save it because this is where in a shared area, right? Close it, continue without saving. You won't be able to save it. You're gonna get an error because this is just an example, right? Team content has some samples. Oops. Team content, so that as a dashboard, and there are some samples for the stories as well. Okay, there are some samples that you want to look at. The guided journey, etc. You can look at that. I'm going back to team content because we're gonna look at what you're gonna do for your assignment 5 shortly. So here it comes. Assignment 5 is a group work. It's gonna be your last assignment and it's an opportunity for you to work with your classmates. What's gonna happen is that at the end of week 9, you're gonna be assigned to the groups in a classroom. And yeah, I will create the group folders in a Cognos. So you will have a folder for your team, and I'll show you. Okay. Remember this: the files in my content area are visible only for you. Right. So in order for team to see the work, you need to save the file to the team folder. Right. So because see, for this assignment, your teammate must have access to the work. What's going to happen is this. First of all, for assignment 5, this is where the data is. See this data for assignments. Assignment 4, you're going to use the same data as for assignment 3, but this is assignment 5. Well, do you see this? You have 5 choices of the data set. If you want to challenge yourself, use life expectancy data or US News data. US News data is, the purpose is to predict the graduation rate, okay, college graduation rate. So this is a good one too, right? So what I would recommend is this. In each team, you want to select the team leader, right? And the team, you select which data set you're gonna use, and then the leader will copy the data set to your team folder. What is the team folder? Well, how do you access it? Take a look at this here. Oops. See this? You're gonna see when the time comes, you're gonna see this folder called assignment 5 group work. There will be a folder called assignment 5 group work. You're gonna click on it. This is a subfolder with your enrollment semester. Right now is spring 2023. You're gonna click on that. This is your team number in your session. Your session is 9080, and this is a team number that you are assigned. For this purpose of this demonstration, let's assume that I'm a member of team 1 and I'm a leader, right? Let's assume this. So this is what? This is the folder where I'm going to save the work that I'm going to do as a team. So now, what do I do now? Well, I need to save a copy of the data. So I'm going to go back to the data for data 16 assignment 5. Let's assume that my team decided to work on cars. And here for this data set, you have a choice. You can predict the car efficiency on a highway, or you can predict the car efficiency on a city road. All right, so it's how many miles per gallon, right? Miles per gallon. So if you have the gas, right? Well, if you use 1 gallon of gas, how many miles you're gonna drive, right? So that's a car efficiency. But anyway, let's do that. So I'm a leader. My team decided to use the car's data. What I have to do is I click here. I'm gonna select copy or remove, and I'm gonna go to not my content, but I'm gonna go to team content this time. Team content, and I'm gonna go assignment 5 group work. This is my enrollment semester, and this is my folder. Note, if you're a member of team 1, you should not see team 2. If you see team 2 instead of team 1, then time to submit the Salesforce ticket, okay? So now team 1, right? And I'm gonna go to what copy to, not move to, but copy to, okay? Copy. Now what I need to do is I'm gonna go again to the team content, right? To see here those little breadcrumbs, it shows me in which folder I'm currently have open, right? So now I'm gonna go back to my here. Do you see this? I see the cars data. Next thing that I would want to do is I want to create what data module, because my team will be doing some data pre-processing, right? So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do what save. And I'm gonna save it as, well, remember where I'm gonna save it to. I have to save it into assignment 5 group work, right? So this is the team content, assignment 5 group work, my enrollment semester, my team. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna call it car data module, right? And it's gonna be saved where? In your team folder, right? Let me close it. Very important, when you're done working with the file, you need to close it. So that way, well, you can work in the groups, right? But you cannot have 2 or 3 people editing the same file at the same time. If you have the file open, it means that it's still in use. You want to close everything before you log out. You see, like, how do I know that I closed everything? I don't see anything listed here. If I click on the arrow, I don't see anything listed. No files, no open files listed. You want to make sure that you close everything, right? So I created the cars data module, right? It's sitting in the team content, right? So you want to make sure whenever you're told that the groups are you will be notified when you're assigned to a group. As soon as you're notified, you want to do not wait until the end. You need to make sure that you see the folder for your group. If you don't, then you need to submit the Salesforce ticket and have a look into. Another way to see it is this. So see, this is the view, right? And you want to look at my preferences. And in the preferences, there is a way to see what permissions you have. So it's in the preferences. See here the groups and roles. You click on view details. This will show you what groups are yours a member of. So this group just lets you to log in. It's everyone. Everybody, right? Doesn't matter. This group just lets you to log in. This group is the group for your team. And this is everybody in data system. So this permission, this group allows you to see this, the team content. This allows you to see the team content. And the other permission is your group name, see? So this here is controlled by the group membership, right? Everyone group allows you to see this one, the data set and all of this pre-install stuff. And for this one, you will, for this folder, you will be assigned to the group and you will see only the folder designated for your group, right? So let's assume this one right now, I'm logged in as demo 2 user. Let's assume the demo 3 user is in the same group, and in fact they are. Trust me, they are. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna sign out and I'm gonna log in as my teammate. Right? I'm a teammate. I'm gonna log in now and I'll show you what's gonna happen. Okay? I logged in as a teammate. And because I was given access to that folder as well, I'm gonna go here and see this assignment 5 group work, my enrollment semester, my team. I see those 2 files. I see 2 files that my teammate just saved in the group folder. I cannot see the files that were in my content, right? I cannot see the dashboard that I was showing you earlier because it was saved in my content, but I can see this. And what I could also do is that's a data module. See this? Let's close that. What I could also do, I could go to this file and I can do, so see that I'm a teammate and I'm gonna do create exploration. I'm just gonna create something, right? Click here and just do, I just want to add this, I want to add visualization. Just want to add this. Well, this is just for the demo purposes. I just added card, right? And now I'm gonna save it. And let's save it as save as, and let's say car exploration, right? Car exploration. Okay. Now, where do I want to save it? I want to save it in a group work. I go to here, assignment 5 group work. This is my semester, right? I'm gonna save it here. So that's an exploration that I created. And let's close that. You want to close it before you exit. Now, take a look at this just to show you that we belong to the same group. I'll go to my preferences. I go to personal, advanced, and I'm gonna go to the roles. Do you see that? This guy belongs to the same group as demo 2. What I just did, I just saved, I created an exploration and I saved it. I'm gonna log out again and I'm gonna give back to the, I'm gonna log out again and I'm gonna log back in as a user demo 2. Right, I'm gonna log in as demo 2. I entered the password for this demo user. I signed in. Take a look at this. I'm going to the team content. I go to assignment 5, group work. Do you see the data exploration that my teammate just created? I can open it, I can edit it, and then close it. Next time my teammate logs in, he or she will see the changes that I made. Well, this is how you're gonna work in groups, but you have to make sure that you save it, okay? And another thing, be very, very, very careful, because if you delete this data, right, if you delete this data module, then this exploration will become invalid. If you delete the stars data, then your data module exploration will be invalid. No, seriously, it happened when one of the students deleted something on the day when the assignment was due. Thanks goodness they took all the screenshots, so they had something to turn in. But please be careful, because deletions cannot be done, right? And there is a dependencies between files, okay? So please make sure, be careful. Before you delete something, you may want to create folder called trash and put stuff in there. instead of actually deleting, okay? Now let's go back to the slides. I just showed you I showed you where the files are for assignment 5. I showed you how to access your team folder. Well, this screenshot was made in the summer, but it does not matter. This is going to be your enrollment semester, your session, and your team. That's what you're going to see, okay? Just know that. This is just steps to copy the file. I can copy any file to the team folder, and I showed you how, right? Deletions can be done. Well, if you delete something, it's gonna be it's an error that you're gonna see, okay? Well, and this is just the troubleshooting. This error you're gonna get if you're trying to open something stored in a team folder that was stored in a team folder that no longer exists. You're gonna get this error. So if you go into your recent, right? This is my recent, and if I try to open a file that no longer exists, sometimes when you delete something, it does not automatically disappear from recent. So sometimes you're gonna get this error if the file does not exist, but it didn't disappear from recent. No worries, it will disappear after we try to open. Okay. Well, this is just the bonus example, and I created a video with a case statement where you just want to just want to create a data group based on the income, but instead of using the data group functionality, you can create calculation, and you can just specify, you can type in the code if you want to. Okay? If you are, if you cannot fit until data 20 to start writing code, right? You can write code here if you like, right? Okay, so another thing is that I want to show you while I'm here. For assignment 5, you will have to create a video. What I would recommend is you can create one of the team members can create a Zoom account. Zoom account is free as long as the session is no longer than 40 minutes, but you don't need that. Your recording should be 10 to 15 minutes. You're going to create free Zoom account, and then what's going to happen is take a look at this. I'm going to show you my account. This is my account as a faculty, right? This is my account from UMGC. What's going to happen is that record, after you record the presentation, it's going to appear. It's going to appear in this recording stuff. And what you can do is, for your submission, you can click on share, and then see that this is a link. This is a link that you're gonna copy and share with your faculty in the passcode. See, when you submit assignment 5, this is how you're gonna do. You're gonna use Zoom, right, to record. You can just invite yourself, right, or invite whoever wants to speak for the recording. Then the recording will go to the recording tab, but you may need to wait a little bit. It takes some time to process, depending on length. Then you're gonna go to share. This is like, for example, this was my session I did for the data 650, right? The data 650 session. So what I could do here, I could click on share, is that, and I can get this link. I can copy this link and share it, right? I can share that link. I don't have to upload the recording to YouTube because some people express the concerns. You don't have to do that. You just share that link with your faculty. That's it. Only your faculty or your teammates will have it. How you gonna record it? It's gonna be up to you. Okay. If you want to do one speaker or if you want two people to speak and take turns, it's going to be your choice. All right. But just well, the thing is, you want to work on the transitions, and trust me, sometimes you need to record more than once and choose the best recording to submit. The deliverable will be a paper and a recording, and you may use Zoom. All right, you're going to create free Zoom account, one of you. Then, if anything under 40 minutes, it's free. But your recording should not be longer than 10 to 15 minutes. So you're good, right? So see this here after this session is over, And since this session is almost hour and a half, right? This thing is gonna finish processing and I will be able to download my recording, right? Or share it right away. Okay? So that's what's gonna happen to you. One option is to use Zoom. Don't worry about uploading it to YouTube because you can share the direct link, okay? Because some people expressed this concern before, so no worries. Okay? Just wanted to make sure. It's not a concern. Okay? Now now it's your turn. Does anyone have any questions? I promise this session is shorter, so we have time for questions. Anyone, anything, any questions on what we covered? Anything? Guys, this is opportunity to ask questions. And yes, you will need to watch the recording more than once, but while you're here, anybody, any of you, do you have anything that you would like to see again or any questions that you may come up with as you were working on the first assignment? On the first assignment, yeah, you had 3 Cognos assignments. Anything? No? If no, then I'm gonna call it a night, you know. No? Okay. If there are no questions, then I'm gonna call it a night, and I hope you guys enjoy your last 2 assignments in the course. Now, it was nice to meet you. All right, thank you for attending this session. I'm gonna stop the recording.
Thank you.
All right, most welcome.
Thank you.
Most
Thanks.
welcome. Most welcome.